last week. You guys
Ready? All right. So I call this meeting of Hamtramck City Council to order. Today is February 14th, 2023, and it's 7:03 p.m. Would the clerk call the rules, please?
Councilwoman Jakowski,
Present.
Councilman Chowdhury,
present?
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yeah, present.
Councilman Hassan,
Present.
Mr. Mayor is present, Khalil Rafai is absent, and I believe Councilman Rafai is absent, Councilman Mahmoud is on his way, you said?
No, I don't
No.
think
No.
so.
No longer? Okay. Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I ask in the beginning for a moment of silence for the victims of the shooting at Michigan State University. Thank you. So, all right, we'll move to the community announcements. Do we have any?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman.
So just a reminder to everyone in the community that the Punchki Run is happening this weekend, so there will be some road closures around Joseph Campo and throughout the city. Like you'll be able to see the map going around Facebook and stuff like that if you need to know where those road closures are. But also I wanted to recognize that February 11th is traditionally 211 Day. So if you don't know, Michigan 211 is a free hotline. So if you need help with it's food, housing, bills, family crises, disasters, mental health services, stuff like that, you can always call 211 or go online to mi211.org and look up a bunch of resources. They do have language assistance available in Bangla, Arabic, Spanish. They also have like Dari, Pashto, so if you're dealing with any of the incoming Afghan refugees, Ukrainian, similar stories, stuff like that. So just making sure everyone knows that 211 exists if you need it. Give it a call, and you are gonna talk to a real human who's in Southeast Michigan. So the call center for 211 is, our local 211 is just in New Center, so it's just a couple miles away. These are local people who know what our region needs and where to find that information.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Chowdhury.
I have, good evening, folks. I have one invitation. It is for International Mother Language Day. It is observance midnight at 3401 Avaline Street, Hamtramck, in front of City Hall. We do that every year. So Monday night, which is Tuesday morning, 12 a.m., we will be out there and observing the International Mother Language Day. I do have a proclamation which I will be reading it later. UNESCO has recognized it's from 1952 to 1971. So I would like to invite everyone to join us that night if it's possible. I know it's going to be cold, but it's not going to be too cold as I watch the weather. Somewhere it's not going to be freezing. But we appreciate it if you join us that night. Thank you.
There's been some cold years.
Yes, thank you, yes.
Thank you. Any more announcements? All right, we'll move to the proclamations, recognitions, and presentations. The first one is 2022 annual reports for Arts and Culture Commission.
Mr. Mayor, we have Mr. Tim Price, the Chair of the Arts and Culture. It looks like Dusty's with us here. And Lynn. You guys want to come up? Our city clerk is going to put the report up there. I always mix up Lynn because she's here for everything.
I have my arts and culture hat on right now.
Welcome, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, City Council, and guests and community. I'm Tim Price. I would like to introduce Dusty, who's our treasurer, Lynn, who's my vice chair, and right and left arm. So as you guys all know in the community. And yeah, we just wanted to present what we've kind of done last year and some things that we've done this year. So I'm going to start out with where we spearheaded the 100th anniversary logo, which in turn turned it up to be, we worked with the DDA and we did the streetlight banners. which will also be a fundraiser for the DDA, because we're actually gonna raffle those off and raise funds for the business community. Dusty, you talk about the next one, Mighty Brew.
Oh, okay. So there was the nation's largest LGBT community art exhibit that was happening in Detroit, and 3 of our galleries here participated in the collective. Hatch Art, Public Pool, and Olin Cafe, as well as additional performing poets and musicians. The Mint Artists Guild Youth was at Olin Cafe. It was a pretty big deal, and it was nice to have some businesses in the community that participated and drew in and tapped into that revenue stream. That was, it was a big party throughout the city. It was cool to see it here, so.
Next one is the Juneteenth, Jet, Lynn?
So I work very closely with Dwight L. Garrett, and we host, last year we hosted a small picnic celebrating Juneteenth at Sarah Garrett Park, named after his mom. And that was June 19th. It was a nice, small, intimate gathering, and we plan to do something very similar this year, maybe introducing board and card games per Dwight L's request.
Next on the list was, we did the Detroit Institute of Art, had a program that they call Inside Out. This year we were selected, and we worked with the CED department through the city, and we had 9 pieces of work replicated throughout the city of Hamtramck in different locations and parks, and it was a good draw. It was up from March into the November, and I think it was great, and we were very spotlighted not only locally but internationally for that. The next one, Lynn, is the Friendship House.
And one of the roles we play in the community is helping facilitate the creation of new art. And in doing that, we partner with organizations to educate them about public art and murals, to help them put together RFP, requests for proposals, understanding, you know, the level of art that their budgets can afford, and help circulate that RFP into the artist community. And Detroit Friendship House used that process, and Zelda was chosen to make a really cool mural. If you haven't seen it, I recommend stopping by Friendship House. It's in their food distribution area, and it's got like an egg and the world, and it played off the themes that they requested. So yeah.
Next one was Detroit Month of Design by Design Corps, which is we're the only UNESCO city in North America. And we submitted, and we were actually accepted to be part of the actual official programming for the first time in Hamtramck, so we, as the Arts Commission. And so we did a collective kind of showing what we've done, what we're gonna do, and what we wanna do in the future. And we had an exhibit actually in a reception at Olman Cafe, and then we premiered the new Joe Louis Greenway mural, and then all the different programming and stuff. It went over really, really well. And then next on the list was the Labor Day Festival.
Y'all know about Labor Day.
It's fun.
You know, I didn't grow up here, but my wife and I moved here we bought a house 7 years ago, had no idea about it, and it's a true gem that this town has going. And we've been putting a little booth up that features information on all the commissions of the city, and it's a fun time to be there, but we have more in plan for the future as we've gotten the ball rolling in terms of just really helping to represent and promote the city in general, just on there.
Yeah.
But.
Cool. And we had live activation of art this year, artists out front this year, and different things like that. We're gonna keep broadening the scope of it too, so. Next on the list is we actually got a Mukaka Michigan Arts Council grant, and we broke it up into 3 different events. The mayor actually came and did one, which we were honored to have him part of it. The first one on the Ukraine church lawn, and it was like poetry and languages from different cultures that all read in their native language, and we had people react to it, and it went over really, really well. And then the second one was tied into the Block Cup, because they were kind of on a hiatus for things, so we partnered in with them, and it was more about food and just getting the neighborhoods together. And then the third one was called Sight and Sound, and that was tied into the Neighborhood Arts Festival, and that was actually at the grounds of the Henrietta House, and it was more about sight and sounds. It was films, local films that were spotlighted or part of Hamtramck culture, and went over really, really well and nice too. So. And then next was the Neighborhood Arts Festival, which is growing every year. We've actually just, Maria, who's been the chair of it, has now come aboard as our new arts commissioner. Thank you guys for bringing her on board. And so we're kind of bringing that under the reins of the Arts Commission. And we actually, last year, we had the record number of participants. We had 42. And we're now been incorporating that into businesses so we can actually really create something that's, not only for the community, but to bring business and people into the city, which I think would be great, so. And then Waymaker, if you wanna
Yeah.
talk a bit about that.
So, one of our other projects supporting, the creation of murals was the Waymaker mural, that's gotten a ton of press. It's on the backside of, Olamon Cafe, and is part of the Joe Louis, Greenway Alley activation. Would you like to talk more about the process and Joe Louis component? Tim?
Well, we're really working side by side with Joe Louis, because we actually had, presented them. They actually had a table at the Labor Day Festival too, where they were reaching out to the community for community activation. And then we just been working with their whole team and just kind of bringing it together and awareness of what we got going on here. So I think that's in the
Yeah.
marketing. So.
And again, the process for that was we sat down with Zlatan from Olamon, wrote up an RFP of what he was looking for, because it is on his building, and then also considering the context of the Joe Louis Greenway mural, circulated that RFP, helped. We also worked with Jessica at Eastern on that
And then
project.
in Eastern Michigan, who's
'Cause
been a
they
vital.
funded it.
Yeah, they funded it through AARP grant that they got, and at the end, we just kind of want to bring out our partners. Eastern Michigan, I don't know if you're familiar with what Jessica's been doing and things that the build outs and stuff, but they were a great, she's been a great asset. And then also Hamtramck Community Initiative, who's our fiduciary, has been a great, because we do that so we can, then we can try to do some fundraising, which our goal is this year to try to raise some more funds on our own, and we're gonna do some merchandise and different things that hopefully next year we'll bring our bigger and better agenda to you of what we've done, so.
And finally, the Faces of Hamtramck. We didn't play a huge role in that, but we can also refer artists to businesses or homeowners who are looking for, in this case, a public art installation. So we helped pair the business owner with Razan, who was awarded by council and the mayor for her contribution through that project. And we're really glad to continue those partnerships and connecting people with artists and helping them navigate the process as, experts in the art field.
That's all we have. Do you guys have any questions or concerns? Or?
No, thank you, good job.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Look forward to hearing this.
All right, the next one is 2022 annual report for the code enforcement.
Mr. Mayor, we have Mr. Radke here, our code enforcement supervisor, just to give a quick overview of some of the code activities.
When he says quick, it will be quick. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
For the year of 2022, we've had anywhere from 1 officer to 4 officers. So we were uneven scale, but for the most part, we stuck around with about 3 officers. We have a 4th one starting in about 3 weeks. On the year, we've done 3,571 enforcements. We've done 5,392 re-inspections, and we've issued 2,500 tickets. I've spoken to many people who says the city is starting to look better, the alleys are starting to look better. We're going to be concentrating on everybody getting their trash cans in their yard until garbage pickup day. Addresses on the back in the alley, not only helps us, but also helps emergency personnel. And graffiti, we'll be cleaning up. Other than that, welcome to the fastest report ever.
A couple other things, Mr. Radke has requested another code enforcement officer for the upcoming budget. We're hoping to be able to accommodate, because as we know, we definitely need more help in that area. Him and his department are striving to beautify our city, and I think they're doing a heck of a job.
Would that be a part-time or a full-time
Another
position?
part-time for now, but we are exploring the options there. So depends on where we land with the budget of what we'll ultimately
Yep,
do.
we're gonna talk about that.
If we can at least get another part-time, we can, get on it. So, and then also, as, when we get out of this cold stuff they call winter and into the spring, they're gonna be on the grass, really hard, passing out the door hangers, trying to get everyone to cut the grass and keep that in mind. So, as you know, we have a new program where if people will cut their grass, we do and send them a bill. So that should help us. And we hope to finally get the graffiti part of that cone seal.
Yes.
So,
If you raise up 1% to keep working, if you hire another person at least part-time,
Yeah, all of my people are part-time.
Yeah, if you make another person, one,
There would be 5 officers part-time.
Okay, we'll talk about the budget session. It's all about money.
All right, thank you so much.
about the
Thanks.
cleaning.
Thank you, Mr. Rocky.
The next one is the 2022 annual report for the public services.
We have this with us today?
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
I'd like to start off saying I'm excited to be here, even though I only had one day in 2022. So, I won't be as short as Rocky,
We should have called Bill back for
I
this.
know.
I can spend some time on it though. But before I get into that, I would just like to say, I really appreciate the opportunity that the mayor and the council has given me to be the director. And more importantly, thank Max for seeing something in me that I did not see. He figured I'd be a good DPS director. And it took some coaxing and talking, but on the end of it, I decided to do it because I love it. I love it here, and I love the people. Most of you know, I was a former building official here, so I got to know most of the community, spent a lot of time with the community. And Evie, since being in this position, I've been given the opportunity and get calls on a daily basis from a lot of the community asking me how to fix this, how to do this, I screwed this up, what do I do next? And, you know, I go over there, meet with them privately, lead them to resolve whatever issue they have. So my continued effort in Evie in that area is still there. I also have to say that the people that I'm working with here in Hamtramck, it's next to none. I've been involved with a lot of cities, and I just don't see the professionalism that I see here in Hamtramck. Not only on the upper levels of management, but just the regular guy in the field. Everybody seems to have a legitimate concern and belief and goal for the city. And that makes me excited to come to work. I don't have an alarm clock and I don't set an alarm. I never have. The day I have to do that is the day you won't see me anymore.
Yeah,
So I wake up, I'm ready to go, and I'm excited to be here.
it's good to hear.
So on that note, I can fill you in a little bit on what we got going. And also one other thing, I did apply through Caroline for one of the city lots. I'm planning on building a home here and staying in one of the units myself on those days I don't want to take the drive home, or a couple days a week and just hang out and enjoy the nightlife here. So that plan will be coming across your desk eventually here soon. A little bit our staff, we have six in the office, the director, the water operator, billing specialist, 2 clerks, and then we have the new custodian. So we're pretty good in the office side of it. Where we're lacking, currently, we're operating at 57% of a workforce. So I'm down about 3 people. So that's why it gets a little tight to do some of the jobs here and there, but we do our best to try to meet with everybody and take care of problems as they arise. I think I've spoken to a few of you regarding that. A lot of what was done last year, I can touch on. They did a lot of lead service lines. We met just over 97% of the projected lead service line removals that we told the state. So I think we did 356 completed. We completed 9 alleys last year, and then some building maintenance, and as most of you are aware, it's still continuing through City Hall. I can say Max is very adamant on trying to get City Hall to be professional. So the City Council, the mayor, the residents have something to be proud of when they come here, and something that doesn't look falling apart. So I've been trying to do my best on staying on top of all that wish list there, and working with all the directors and other departments and trying to make their offices a better space. Moving on to, we have the water line replacement main on Kniff, east of Kona to Buffalo. And then we're gonna be starting with the water main on the west side of Conan all the way up to Joseph Campo. Just a couple things there, and my responsibility to the city is to also look at the long-term issues of when we do these projects, are we doing these projects in the best light for what it's gonna, how it's gonna affect the city down the road? And we've seen something with the plans that we didn't like per se. We have two water lines running next to each other, which means double the water lines to repair later. And we've made a decision in the field to go to one line, a bigger line. So we only have to repair one line and not two. Having two right next to each other, one breaks, creates a whole list of a bunch of problems. We don't know what line it is, we spend more time trying to dissect it. So those changes would be made at basically the same cost.
Back to what the controller was mentioning, looking at kind of a overview of everything when we do it. We're trying to get it right the first time rather than piecemeal stuff in. So if we plan on redoing a street at this point, we're gonna try and do everything. As we do KNF, everything's getting replaced, water lines being replaced, lead service lines being replaced, and eventually the street and the sidewalks in KNF's case, so.
Yeah, we're trying to follow, do the water lines and then go to the roads afterwards. Trying to be ahead of it so we're not tearing into new roads. Even though we may run into that here and there because there's nothing we can do about it. The ones that we can delay or put off or put something in front of something to do, we are. So we're not wrecking a new road. I would rather do 4 roads correctly than 5 roads. Is this the Band-Aid? The Band-Aids don't help us down the road. Yes, we have to wait a little bit longer to get what everybody wants, but down the road, it's really gonna make the difference. And that's what I'm really trying to pay attention on with all these projects that I see through Hennessy and water and sewer coming in. My background in construction and land development, I'm fitted for that. So I can see these problems before they become a problem. Let's see, follow up here. I am working, and I have to give thanks to Carolyn for inviting me into many of her grants that she runs across. She's been instrumental, not, to include the department. If it's not necessarily something that may fit her, she asked me, hey, can you tie this to what's going on? So I've been spending a lot of time with her and that department. And we're working on one together, the RAISE grant, which is up for letter of support here tonight. So the more interaction, that's what I'm trying to do with the departments, get the free money. Or we can get the free money, I want the free money. If I don't have to use my budget, I'm happy. We have some hydrant replacements, with the project going pretty soon. Also on Dan Street up to the park, new water main, and Goodson. Other than that, other than the daily water main breaks and things like that. That's all I have for you tonight. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, the water main in South Conan, all the water is not clear, all yellow one.
Yeah,
The whole community they call water is not good.
Yeah, they've been moving around a lot of the gate valves, which is probably opening up some pipes, and we're actually having a meeting tomorrow on a lot of that. So we're addressing the one break at Joseph Campo and KNF tomorrow, so that should be fixed within the next couple of days. And just for those that are wondering, the reason why that wasn't attacked right away is we're having an issue with closing that line down. And if we just start digging, we could explode it, and then we lose a bank, and we lose a road, and we have a lot of unhappy people. So I'm looking at the most inexpensive way to control that situation.
Years ago, there wasn't any good plan for that intersection, and the valves weren't done quite the way we would like them, making it very difficult to shut off. When they crack it open this time, we're adding some extra valves in there.
So the people that are affected by what Councilman Samiri was mentioning, should they be running their water before they use it and stuff like that, or is it still safe with the discoloration?
Well, just
The whole
discoloration,
area.
yeah, they should be flushing that out, so I'll look at that in the morning, see if we have to flush out a hydrant.
Okay.
Blow that out a little bit, we may stir it up with moving some valves around. Going back to that change on KNF, going to one water line, what that's also gonna do is, next year we'll be tapping, we'll abandon the 6-inch line that's there, We'll be tying in all the side streets to the new 12-inch main with gate valves. So every side street's gonna have a new valve that we can count on, because right now some work, some don't, they keep spinning, some turn right to shut off, some turn left to shut off, so there's all kinds of stuff going on. So that's, we're just trying to get it, so when the guys get sent out, they can get to the problem right away and resolve it right away. Just spending it hours and hours and hours trying to dissect something just ridiculous.
Not to mention we find water lines occasionally that they don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun.
We have an extra water line going down Joseph Campo that nobody knew about. And we thought we had 2, but we actually have 3.
Oh, wow.
Is
And
there,
we had the gate valve pits vacuumed out and steamed out and sucked everything out of there and looked down in there and found a whole nother water line traveling north going down Joseph Campo, so.
is there a exact start date for the Dan Street project?
Yeah, they started yesterday.
It's like
It's yesterday,
now,
so we're
yeah.
started.
Yep.
Okay, yep.
And John,
If
you
they
still,
take time in Conan, if they take time, give the community, give them a notice. They're gonna take a couple days. When they clean tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah, depending on what we find out tomorrow about the one at Joseph Campo and Kniff, if we have to do any major shutdown, which is in the possibilities, we'll definitely post it and let everybody know.
I just wanted to throw this there. You're still distributing the water pitchers from your department, right, and the filters available for folks?
Yes, we still
Just to
doing
get-
that. If
yeah,
I
so
call and
anyone
get those
need it.
refilled, and if anybody's in the office and they're around, they're right in the closet there, so, yep, we sign them out all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is the proclamation Bangladesh International Mother Language Day. Councilman Chaudhry would read that.
Thank you, Mayor. So this proclamation is International Mother Language Day, whereas by United Nations resolution, International Mother Language Day is celebrated on the 21st of February each year. And whereas the date represents the day in 1952 when students demonstrating for recognition of their language, Bangla, as one of the 2 national language of then Pakistan. We made it short. Were shot and killed by police in Dhaka, the capital of what is now Bangladesh. And whereas the city of Hamtramck, with its rich tradition of culture diversity, agrees with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that languages are the most powerful instrument of preserving and developing our tangible and intangible heritage. And whereas all moves to promote the dissemination of the native languages will serve not only to encourage a linguistic diversity, multilingual education, but also to develop fuller awareness of linguistic and cultural tradition throughout the world, and to inspire solidarity based on the understanding, tolerance, and dialogue. Whereas this year we will join together in our hearts to respect, appreciate the culture and languages that, when combined, make us better. Signed by Amar Ghalib. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Amir still here? We love you too, Amir.
Evelyn, yes.
Pakistani people.
Yeah.
All right. So, the next one is, basically I mentioned Amir because problem was between Pakistan and Bangladesh at that time. And he's from Pakistan, they are from Bangladesh. So.
Yeah. We get along.
Yeah.
We're friends now.
So the next one is next proclamation in recognition of Black History Month. And I would ask Rana to read it, please. Thank you.
This February, during Black History Month, I call on the residents of the city of Hamtramck to honor the history and achievements of Black Americans and to reflect on the centuries of struggle that have brought us to this time of reckoning, redemption, and hope. In 1976, President Gerald Ford issued the first African American History Month proclamation, calling upon the Americans to celebrate this observance each February. Since that time, U.S. presidents, governors, and local officials have issued proclamations to pay tribute to African Americans. The history of African American Black History Month traces back to 1915, when the father of Black History Month, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which is currently known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Through their diligence and commitment to African American citizens, Dr. Woodson and the ASALH introduced the first Negro History Week in February 1926. Black Hamtramckans have served as employees, city council members, school board members, and city commission members since 1920, and Hamtramck is a better place for it. A knee to the neck of justice opened the eyes of millions of Americans and launched a summer of protest that resonated not just in Hamtramck, but all over America and around the world. Here at home, work has begun to restore its historical Negro League Stadium on dedicating the new Sarah Garrett Park and finishing the decades-old lawsuit of the same name. Historically, the city of Hamtramck has not fully lived up to the founding principles of this nation, that all people are created equal and have the right to be treated equally throughout their lives, and the city council and administration are and have been dedicated to fulfilling this promise now and in the future. Signed, Mayor Amir Gallo.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move to the additions, deletions, agenda approval. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Next is the public comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few emails. This one is for Muhammad Muhyiddin. Dear Honorable Mayor Gallup and the Honorable members of the Hamtramck City Council, I am writing to express my concern about the recent hiring process for the city manager position. I understand that City Council will make a decision today regarding the position, and I believe it is very important to bring to light some of the issues that I encountered during the interview process. I am concerned about the fairness of the hiring process. During the interview process, I felt that the questions I was asked were geared towards a particular candidate. I believe that all candidates should be evaluated equally. If Hamtramck is taking the time to interview candidates for this position, then the process should be open to fairly evaluating all candidates. This includes that the candidates know the rubric that's being used to evaluate them, and how each factor of the rubric is weighed in the hiring process. The current interim city manager does possess more city management experience than the other candidates, and rightfully so, since the interim city manager has been in the position for the past few months. However, other candidates, like myself, have the transferable skills that they have acquired throughout their career and education that can contribute positively to the city of Hamtramck. These candidates can also bring to the city new ideas and new energy to City Hall. For the sake of credible and transparent process, I request that the City Council hold a public second round of interviews so the residents of Hamtramck can see what the other candidates can offer to the city of Hamtramck. In return, this will give comfort to the residents and voters of Hamtramck that the process will remit the best candidate fit to manage this great city of Hamtramck. Thank you for taking the time to consider my concerns. Sincerely, Muhammad Muhyiddin. This is from, oh, he says his name. This is Ahmad Ali, living on Holmes Street. Hello, dear Mayor, Council, City Clerk, City Manager. I would like to congratulate Mr. Max on his pending appointment as City Manager, and I wish him well. I would also like to voice my concern for an upcoming agenda item where the city is planning to give a West Bloomfield resident and works as a marijuana lawyer a tax break on his property that he neglected for over a decade on Joseph Campo. This sends the wrong message to owners on Joseph Campo, that they should let their building break down and then you can fix it up and get a tax-free reward. The owner can easily sell the building for $150,000 if they can fix it, and the new owner will fix it for them. The property also shows that he applied and got a rental certificate approved, and those don't get given unless the place is rentable, so I don't get how the place is in bad shape. Thank you. This is from Claire Nowak Boyd. Hello, I am writing in support of clarifying the city's handicap parking ordinance. It just makes sense that people with disabilities should be able to park in front of their houses. This is the intent of creating accessible spots for them at home. I support the ordinance changes. Sincerely, Claire Nowak Boyd. This is from Councilman Mohit Mahmood. Hi, Rana, please read this comment, public comments. Good evening to all my colleagues, city officials, and dear community. Due to my mandatory work schedule, I am not able to make it to the council meeting tonight. Beginning I expressing my deepest condolences to all victim family at the Michigan State University students and their families. Secondly, I want to congratulate Mr. Max Garbarino for being selected by the interview committee as a top candidate for the Hamtramck City Manager position. He has years of experience leading the Hamtramck City Police Department and the city office as an interim manager. He is very knowledgeable about the culturally diverse communities in our beloved Hamtramck City. I look forward to working with our council and city manager and strengthening the relationship between our communities and improving the quality of life in our city residents. Together, we will make a difference. With best regards, Mohit Mahmoud. This is from Payam Danishvar. Hi there, I am referring to the city council meeting on 1/10/23. I want to thank the protesters for sharing common sense, yet very, very upset at the bias of the board and lawyer. I believe the city clerk was one of the few who did a wonderful job multitasking and managing the meeting, and I'm grateful for her help. I was born in Iran and lived until the age 10. I still have PTSD from public animal executions, blood on the streets, and the horror. I'm currently vegan. Most of my family is Muslim or claims to be. Yet the horror and screams and agony, the worst of all, watching or hearing it, can be traumatizing during Eid and perhaps during weddings and other celebrations. No offense to anyone, but if God is creator of all beings, then killing one of the creations an act of celebration doesn't make sense to me. If cutting the internal carotid artery while aiming at the external jugular vein for posterior external jugular vein, the anterior ganglion nerve and vagus nerve is running from the same bundle. The pain originates from cutting throat nerves, not from the loss of blood, suggesting the severed nerves send pain signals until the time of death. There is no way of killing any animal other than the vet while they put it to sleep. This is an act of harm and isn't 100% guaranteed by religious laws. Besides, what if other made-up religions do way worse? This makes Islam look bad, questioning if its religion is of peace. In 1993, Supreme Court law isn't set in stone, and you should also get another lawyer who isn't biased towards having this passed. Most cities nowadays make their own laws, ignoring federal and state. Just look at California, Oregon, New York. Let the people vote. Then Michigan Supreme Court can decide. Conclusion was, okay, when it's done right, well, who is monitoring? This opens doors to government surveillance of our homes, which leads to more tyranny. Also, the indoor executions can lead to more violence between humans and unexplained blood outside. I appreciate if the board and the city and state can take another look at this. I do not want Iran to be brought into Michigan. Thank you for your time. I am very happy that the city of Hamtramck is bringing up this subject because it opens the doors to more animal rights and more humane actions. And that was for emails. Ms. Len Blasi, Hamtramck resident, 3 minutes.
May I please ask for my extra minute?
Yeah,
Thank you. Hello, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to say that while I was bicycling here on my commute home from work, I was really glad to see that the ballards are up on the bike lane south of Holbrook. During my quick ride from Alice to Holbrook, I saw one other bicyclist using the lanes. And I'm really hoping, now that the ballards are out, that parking enforcement resumes soon, so that it is safer for bicycles and there are not cars in the lanes. There were several vehicles parked in the lanes. On to agenda topics. Resolution 2023-14. I am looking forward, to, as many of us are, I'm sure, to the completion of the Sarah Garrett lawsuit. Not only will this provide closure to residents who have been affected by it, but it also, as our controller mentioned earlier in the budget session, frees up some of our budget so we can use it towards other things. 2023-15, congratulations, Max. You work hard for our city, and I think you'll be a great city manager. 2023-16, as always, it's really good to see more movement towards improving our alleys. This has been a very pressing issue. It's brought up almost every time I talk to residents, and I think it's important that we share as often as possible, as loud as possible, these positive improvements that we're working on, and I'm glad to see from the reports that seems to be the intent of departments within City Hall too, is to do things comprehensively and then communicate them out to the community. 2023-17, I support the rezoning as it aligns with our master plan and it makes the development easier and more straightforward. People looking to open businesses in those properties or do mixed use shouldn't have to jump through ZBA meetings and other hurdles to get, from a resident to get it mixed use. So I think that's a really reasonable plan and straightforward. 2023-18. I'm really curious why this language is here in our city charter, and I do support making the position of city manager more accessible to people that have relevant experience by currently serving as elected officials or through appointed positions. I feel like those positions give you experience, making you more eligible, and you shouldn't have to wait 2 years after your term ends to apply for that position. 2023-19. Given the presentation by our controller earlier, I want to quote him in talking about a contingency plan to reduce expenses with our projected reduced income, and speculating that revenue is on the decline, and it's really important that we focus on ways to increase retention within City Hall. I agree that pay increases for mayor, council, and pro tem would better compensate your time and effort, but I do think it's very essential to make sure that it's fiscally responsible in the climate of our city budget right now. And I think it's premature to make such a decision while the department heads are just now looking at the budget. 2023-20. It seems like this language is consistent with vacancies for other branches of government. If someone is planning to run for elected office, switching between mayor and council, I think it's important to let the position being vacated go to vote for a partial term.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have Miss McDunn.
Oh.
I'm gonna try your last name.
My-
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Saba Bias-Fahtani.
Perfect.
All right.
Wow. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry my back is going to be to you, but I have to face that. I am Dr. Mujgan Sababi Islani. I am from Iran. And I want to tell you first that all throughout my childhood, my grandfather sacrificed sheep almost every year and donated the meat to the community. And I was never traumatized. So what you heard, the story that you heard from Mr. Payam Daneshvar is a bit paranoid. So if I were you, I would disregard it. But I am not here to talk about that. I'm here because I have been speaking against crimes of Israelis against Palestinians pretty much since I was 18 years old. I've spoken at multiple universities. Wherever I go to give talks, I speak about it. And many places in America, they don't have the ear to hear it. They are very, very resistant. Not here, thankfully, because we spoke to some of you, Mr. Mayor Ghalib and Council Member Chowdhury, and I appreciate the time that you gave us. What we would like to see happen, and it seems like you are agreeable to it, is for this body to pass a resolution saying that we are against military aid to Israel. If by next week you can pass such a general resolution, it would really, really help us. There are multiple cities in the United States who are inclined to do it. And with that, we can kind of give them a nudge and say, do it. This is the right thing to do. I don't have to stand here and tell you about the atrocities that Israel commits on a daily basis. The shooting you saw in Michigan today, a city very close to us here, that is just nothing compared to what Israelis do to children in Palestine. Every day, it is, if we feel the pain for students that were shot, thank you, in Michigan, we have to feel that same pain for Palestinians. And if we can do something, we should do it. I'll be very happy to come back here next week. Hopefully we can pass this resolution. Thank you so much. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Blaine Coleman, Ann Arbor.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks to the city council members, also Mary Jakowski, Hassan, Mayor Ghalib, Chowdhury. Thank you very much for having us. you already know the situation in the entire Middle East. You know the massive violence and mass murder that's being committed by Israel against Palestinians, against Lebanese, and the terrible destruction they've caused to the whole Arab world and beyond. And so I guess I don't have to tell you, you already know. This city council has a really valuable perspective. You are really focused on the situation locally, and you're also focused on the situation internationally. This is really a big help in the world. It helps to orient you to where you are in the world. And you can share this perspective that you have with every city council in the country. You can put Hamtramck on the map as a real champion of human rights and show your humanity and encourage the other city councils to show their humanity, if they have any. You gotta give them a chance, right? And if you're able to put this resolution on your agenda, let's say next time, it's pretty simple, it's 7 words. We are against military aid to Israel. There's not much room there for argument. It's not a 3-page resolution that people will be arguing about until 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just 7 words that are pretty obvious. I mean, the mayor of Barcelona just declared that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. Human Rights Watch has declared that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. Amnesty International has declared that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. South Africa has declared that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. Black Lives Matter movement has declared that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. So it's pretty obvious, and pretty obvious that we should not be giving billions and billions of dollars in military aid to Israel every year. It would be really helpful to the world, and it would give a win to the Ummah. It would give a win to every Arab, to every Muslim in the United States and worldwide if they hear about it. It would give them a win to know that somebody heard them, that somebody says, no, we should not be giving military aid to an apartheid government. We just should not. This should be obvious. I thank you again for having us.
Thank you, sir.
Abdul Latif Doba.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Mayor, City Council member. I am here today to talk about the littering issue in our city. I suggest we start taking responsibility. We demand the city to investigate and resolve this. I am concerned that our residential and businesses are being neglected. Okay, and resolution 2023-15, I am supporting Mr. Max to be the city manager. He did a nice job for our city. He had good experience when he was city manager acting on behalf. السلام عليكم عمدة المدينة أعضاء المجلس البلدي. أنا هنا اليوم للحديث عن قضية النظافة والقمامة في مدينتنا. أقترح أن نبدأ في تحمل المسؤولية. أنا قلق جدا من إهمال النظافة في المدينة من قبل السكان والمتاجر وشكرا. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Nasser Hussain.
First, I want to congratulate Max for the position. Hopefully you vote for him. Remember I met you like 10 years ago, you gave me your business cards. It had something on the back, I don't remember the exact thing, but showed integrity. And so the first thing I want you to investigate people, officials in Hamtramck who claim to live in Hamtramck, whether they're Muslims or non-Muslims, but they do live in Hamtramck. You want to set the record straight, I think. With the police intelligence, you could easily find that by pinging their phones, see where their phones are most of the time on these things. Second thing is the parking issue for the disabled, especially on the case on Facebook. I think most cities, when I check, they allow anybody who's disabled to park in the parking spot, not just the owner of the house. The case on Facebook was a person who had a placard, but he made a copy and he used that. That's illegal. You could easily be given a ticket for it if you just duplicate the one you already have. It doesn't make sense that you'll assign one parking spot to a person in the house and he goes 8-10 hours a day and nobody could park there, where there are other disabled people who want to park. And if this happens, everybody in Hamtramck, probably 30, 40, 50% are already disabled. They will just fill the streets with disabled parking. The ballot resolution to increase salary, I don't agree with it. The city doesn't have a budget. You have a shortcoming in the budget. You just gave a tax break to corporation, maybe 100,000, 200,000. Doesn't make any sense to ask for a raise while giving breaks to them. And once you have a surplus in the budget, I'll be more than happy to sponsor you. Do your job right, give us a surplus, we'll increase your salaries. The code enforcement gentleman, he talked about graffiti and dangerous situation. You have the Gnosis building on Kenneth. I just passed today, it has all kind of graffiti. The building on Fleming and Carpenter. I don't know what's wrong with that building. It's still a lot of graffiti, it's very dangerous. Kids play around that all the time and there's no enforcement. To make Hamtramck clean, you have to enforce your laws evenly and not selectively. The cleanliness, we have to keep Hamtramck clean. There's a law in the book that people have to keep 3 feet in front of their houses clean. You should send the code enforcement officer and start giving tickets. Maybe if you lower the tickets to $25 instead of $100, you could issue more tickets. You make more money by volume. And Traffic Safety Commission, if somebody propose it, like from the citizens, you make this commission to help reduce the traffic problems in Hamtramck. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Hadil Toma? Hamtramck resident, 3 minutes.
Hello, Council. I just want to first of all address the Iranian lady who said that it's not traumatizing to watch an innocent animal get stabbed to death. I worked in a halal slaughterhouse and I looked in the animals' eyes and they cried and they screamed and they begged for their life. They get hung upside down and stabbed in the throat. That's not something nice to watch whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult. So that's total nonsense. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is there's a golden rule. Do unto others what you want them to do to you. If you don't want to be stabbed in the throat, then don't do it to an innocent animal. They don't want to die. They value their life. Dr. Keith Kendrick, the foremost expert on sheep and goats, which are the animals that Muslims kill, sheep and goats' brains are organized in a way to have emotional response to what they see in the world. Sheep are sentient beings, that's a fact. They are aware of the world. They suffer. They hunger and thirst. They feel pain and feel love. Why force pain on them instead of love? The professor also says sheep and human brains are very extremely similar. Sheep can form mental images of other sheep in their brains, as well as goats, as well as humans. Sheep cry for their missing family members. Sheep also recognize facial recognition. Sheep can watch television. This is a fact. Sick sheep know how to heal themselves by eating certain kinds of plants. This has been observed. Sheep have nutritional knowledge and ability to make themselves feel better. Sheep care for other sick sheep. And I'm also talking about goats here as well. Our perception of farm animals is funded by the death industry, which is the meat industry, flesh peddlers. Sheep can make fine pets, but because of what's going on here, nobody has farms anymore to understand that. But this has all been studied and proven. This is all a fact. Sheep have their own personality. They display emotion, just like dogs do. They sleep. When they sleep at night, they dream. This is a fact. They can be depressed when a fallen sheep is thrown on a slaughter truck on the way to a slaughterhouse. They can be distressed. So what do you think is going through these animals' minds when someone takes a sharp knife and pokes them in the throat and they choke on their own blood? would you want someone to do that to you for a God in the clouds? Do you think a God in the clouds wants that? No, if you want to sacrifice something, go help the homeless. Go show love and compassion. Don't steal innocent animals' lives. They don't want to die. You should have challenged this animal sacrifice thing. You just cow down to it because you're all Muslims. I respect that. But challenge it. Fight it. This is nonsense. It's not sacrifice. It's animal cruelty and it's murder. They don't want to die. So I'm hoping that you guys change your minds and find a way to do it, because this is wrong. This is pure murder, and I've proven to you that sheep and goats feel pain just like you do and just like dogs do. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope that you lead the
Mr.
campaign
Chair.
against the food, companies that kill millions of animals every day.
The business.
This is just one day a year,
Yeah.
but you ignore the food companies that kill millions of animals.
No, they're wrong too.
What about the turkey?
They're
The
wrong
millions.
too.
Why don't you talk about that?
Can I talk about it?
Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
lead a campaign in the whole country,
I'll talk about that.
because this
That's all
animal
wrong.
sacrifice is just
Mr. Chair,
one
what's
day
your
a year.
line? Yeah, that's all.
It's all wrong.
Mr. Chair, I want to suspend the law, please. I want to, Ms. Clark, the previous practice and law, somebody have to say their name and address, please.
This gentleman, I believe I did say Hamtramck resident, but he was a Hamtramck
He has to say
resident.
that. Him or her who come here, they have to say their name and their address. It was previous practice, maybe.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we know who is talking. Okay,
Is that all?
yep, that's it.
And then Mutahar, you said you wanted at the end, right? That is all for public comments.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the consent agenda. And this is approved in a single motion with no discussion. Item A, approval of minutes from the January 24th, 2023 regular city council meeting. B, approval of invoice register date ending February 14th, 2023. C, approval of pre-approved expenditure date ending February 14th, 2023. D, resolution 2023-14 approving revised contract with integrated contracting.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objections? All right, thank you. We'll move to the new business. Item A, resolution 2023-15, approval of appointment of Max Garbarino as Hamtramck City Manager and directing city attorney to negotiate and draft contract for employment.
Make an offer.
Second.
Mr. Chair.
I think there's a report that Maali is
Yeah,
gonna introduce.
Assalamualaikum.
and then
That's
we'll-
our deputy city manager.
Yes, the vice
Mali
and then
Lukman.
we'll discuss after
Good
that.
evening, Honorable Mayor, respected council. Thank you for giving me a moment to present our hiring process regarding the city management position. Due to the nature of the city manager position being a highly critical role in the city, this process was implemented to ensure transparency in the hiring of Hamtramck City Manager. The city manager will report to mayor and council, will work closely with myself, department heads, and the city attorney, overseeing all city operations. So applications were open to the public and closed on January 10th, 2023. Hamtramck Human Resources, Mashana Burton, conducted preliminary filters of all applicants and submitted resumes of applicants who met the minimal criteria listed on the job posting to myself and the city attorney, Ode Marue, on January 26th, 2023. So along with HR going through and filtering through the candidates, we wanted to ensure that no candidates that met at least the basic criteria were eliminated from the first round of filtering through the interviews. The city attorney and myself met on the 26th of January to review all of the applications, and it was close to 135. We went through each and every one of them, we reviewed them, and we made sure that anyone that had minimal experience that would be relevant to the role was included. Myself, city attorney, and HR met on January 27th, 2023 to debrief, review all of the resumes unanimously once more, and select final candidates to come in for interviews. The resumes that include notations by myself, the city attorney, and HR will be filed away in Human Resources. Following that, The council city manager search subcommittee, that was a subcommittee that was created by the mayor prior to the posting of the position, from my understanding. Met with myself and our city attorney on February 3rd, 2023 to debrief about the hiring process and review the resumes once more. The subcommittee had created a rubric. Again, this was the rubric was developed prior to the posting of the position. It was something that the subcommittee came up with. So we reviewed the resumes once more, and the subcommittee confirmed the short list of candidates. They had included an additional 2 more to the initial 8 that were submitted by HR. So let me break it down a little bit just to eliminate any misunderstandings. HR had pulled 8 that met the main criteria or the basic criteria. When the subcommittee, myself and O'Day, our city attorney, met, they had included 2 more that might have been potential candidates. So we reviewed them once more using the rubric. And using the rubric, we were able to eliminate a lot of the candidates, and we narrowed it down to a total of 3 candidates that were meeting the basic criteria for an interview. Those scores were, let me backtrack a little. The 3 candidates were selected for interviews based on the following main criteria: city administration and city management experience, which is very, very critical, a graduate level of education, higher level analytical and synthesis skill set. That's a very critical component to leading the city. On a day-to-day budget, we have to review budgets, we have to review all sorts of reports, and so it would be very, very difficult for someone who didn't take grad level courses, who did not take statistics courses, to be able to assess those things. So that was something we felt was an absolute necessity. A competency of and familiarity with Hamtramck City's unique and diverse demographic needs. As we all know, Hamtramck is very unique, very diverse. So that was also one of the main factors. We needed someone who demonstrated an understanding of that diversity and worked well with that diversity. And an understanding of government and legal aspects of municipal administration. That one was very, very difficult to find, and that was probably one of the main contributing factors to our ultimate decision for recommendation of hire. Hamtramck Human Resources scheduled interviews with the following candidates: Asim Rahman, who scored 14.3 out of 30 on the initial scoring of just resumes. Maxwell Garbarino scored 19.3 out of 30. That's based on just resumes. Mohammed Bakir Mohiuddin scored 14.3 out of 30 as well. Interviews were held on February 8th, 2023 in City Hall in the 3rd floor conference room. The panel of 6 interviewers was present. The city attorney, O'Day Maroué, led the interviews. The mayor pro tem, Mohammed Hassan, attended from the council leadership. The council members, Naeem Chowdhury and Mohammed Al Samiri, attended on behalf of the council's city manager search subcommittee. Again, those council members that were involved in the subcommittee were overseeing the process months before the position was posted. Myself and Human Resources, Mashana Burton, sat in from city administration. The rubric developed by the council city manager search committee was used to help inform the process. The final determination, and I really want to emphasize this, the final determination for our recommendation of hire was reached upon post-interview deliberations, not solely on the rubric. The rubric was used just as a guide to help us assess the basics, right? And the rubric can be posted, if it's not already posted, on board docs for public to see. Interview questions: assessed for city management experience, thorough knowledge of managing municipal budgets, an understanding of the unique needs of Hamtramck, overall professional experience related to this specific role. And the final scores for each candidate after the interviews were as follows. Maxwell Garbarino scored 25.7 out of 30. Asim Rahman scored 15.7 out of 30. Mohammed Bakir Mohiuddin scored 6.2 out of 30. Based on the interviews, the city management hiring panel and council city manager search subcommittee sent forth to council a recommendation of hire for Maxwell Garbarino. I do want to just include a comment. Mr. Garbarino has a Juris Doctorate. For those that are not familiar with what that is, a Juris Doctorate is a JD. It's a doctorate degree in law. Upon my work with him in the past 7 months, I've seen that come in handy when we can't reach out to the city attorney all the time. There's a lot of legal stuff that we have to look at, city charters, things of that sort. It's a great advantage to have someone with a doctorate degree in the legal field to be able to interpret some of those things. He has extensive experience in law enforcement, city management of Hamtramck, and he's been in the city for over 2 decades. These experiences weighed in heavily on all levels of the interview process. And so I wanted to just put that out there for public knowledge as well. Our city attorney, Ode Marue, will report out in further detail on that determination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Molly. That was very comprehensive, and she did a great job, honestly, throughout the process. It was very helpful and was instrumental, actually. First, I actually wanted to thank the mayor and the council for taking the time at the beginning of this meeting for the moment of silence regarding the MSU situation. My sister actually was right there and could very well have been one of the victims. She heard the gunshots and was right there. So it's pretty scary that it happens to somebody close to you, and I appreciate you taking the time out there for that. And I know anybody who's affected also appreciated it. With regards to the city manager search, you heard how thorough it was. You heard how the process from start to finish came about. The council was involved, the mayor was involved. I thought the mayor and council was decisive in how they handled this. And well, you were decisive in how you handled this. I thought you had a plan, you implemented it, you were transparent, and you were triumphant in the end in finding the right person. What we found as a committee there after the interviews, I will tell you that while, for example, Mr. Rahman could have been a fine candidate and was a fine candidate, excuse me, and interviewed very well, if Max wasn't there, he would have been a good choice. But the fact is, Max just is the best in every category. He met the threshold in every category. There isn't a category here that he doesn't meet. He's a leader, he's a hard worker, he's a communicator, a team player. He's knowledgeable about not just 1 or 2 things, but everything. As Molly was saying, I'm sure he's not practicing law, but he uses his legal degree as a means to help him be decisive on the job and understand and break down certain things that others, as she said, wouldn't understand or wouldn't be able to have a nuanced understanding of. So he also loves Hamtramck. I don't know if anybody noticed this through the whole process. He loves this city, and it shines through. He has the education, he has the experience, he has the relationships, and the accomplishments. From what we recognize from his tenure so far as interim city manager, there was a tumultuous situation, a large turnover. You lost your DPW director, you lost CFO, and not only did he navigate those tumultuous waters, he's brought us into a point of stability. From what I understand, the 3rd floor is very happy and stable now and working and churning away and for the city. I think that if the council were to hire anyone other than Max, it would be doing a tremendous disservice to the city because of the amount of time and money, frankly, it would take to bring anybody else to speed. With regards to the process and the criticisms, we all heard the interview answers, and as I said, Kamal Rahman handled himself extremely well and answered the questions extremely well. But at the end of the day, Max's answers were on a different level of understanding, a different level of knowledge, and a different level of experience. So there is no really other answer, and that's why the council has clearly made a great choice. So that's a summary of what we found and what we saw. And I think you're doing the right thing here if you vote to hire Max.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
according to the resolution, we have to give the direction to the city manager, city attorney, how will, contact negotiation. So I have to say something, as a council president or mayor pro tem, I was that interview, I was there. It was very fairly. Our subcommittee, I like to thank them. They spent a lot of times, bring the process together, because issue was the hiring process. They did very good job, brought the hiring process properly, took a lot of time, and give the opportunity to everybody, is like a surprise. There is the around 135 applicant was there. So first of all, I thanks to the subcommittee bring the resolution up to here today. And I was in interview board. It was fair interview. There was nothing wrong. One of the candidate complaining about a specific question being asked to him. It was not. It was same question we ask every candidate. Same question. And we was very honest how the people answering the question answers. And of course, one of the candidate did the very good. And when I take the section by section, the other candidate, I cannot myself mark, there was the criteria experience with the city related or city manager or assistant manager. There is no applicant was the city manager previously or assistant manager. So the point, somebody gonna question why point like that. There is another reason. When I apply for or interviewing for the specifically the city, any name, I have to focus on that city. Some of the candidate did not focus on that city, always talk to the other city, see how this go. So it's a specific one of the other city. And there is end of the day, this council body has enough knowledge and enough experience, enough support from the community to be here. And they know what they're doing. When the city manager position, no matter what, city manager boss is this elected body. So under the respect, under the consult, he has to proceed on it, under our direction. So again, thank you, Mr. Attorney, Ms. Mali, and Ms. HR manager did a very good job. Of course, clerk sometimes brought us coffee, brought us plate, brought us food. Not bad, thank you. A lot of time. Okay, so I'm so happy. Again, after hire, today, one of the candidate telling why you guys brought the one resolution to in front of, or is the council meeting today? Yeah, we just brought who got the high point. And if the council body deny it, we're going to bring the second one. And we're going to bring the second one denied, we're going to bring the third one. We don't want to waste our time. We don't want to conflict with the one resolution to the other resolution and put in a spot everybody. If the council not agree with that, for board or whatever majority board, they can say no. So attorney has the backup plan to bring right away, suspend the law, we can add the resolution. So that question came from the any candidate is already solved. We have the backup plan, we have the resolution ready, and if in case this one did not went through properly or neglected or rejected, I got a backup plan is gonna take place right now. So that is the another confusion is gone. Third confusion, previous practice, we used to hire the manager like a time limit, contract for this year to this year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. One of the contract we had last time, open contract. Open contract never is good. We have, I'm going to request, and my council and mayor will talk to the attorney. So we're going to, the candidate, no matter what, who is going to be today appointed, I want an attorney and my colleagues, my request will be 2 years contract and subject to be continue. That is my request. That's why other candidate cannot tell any other thing, or we give a blank check or anything. So again, thanks for Max Gavrino. Have a good passion and good love for Hamtramck. And I'm very much known about it. I call midnight. I need a police officer right here. One day, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was calling from my workplace. I got one of the residents has the issue, and he said, if you at the workplace and if they need a ride, I'm on duty, I can go and help them. That kind of person is here. So, and of course, educated. And the other reason, city expend a lot of money for Mr. Gavrino to get the Doctor of Judicial degree. So I want some money returned from there.
Good investment.
Yeah, good investment. We expend a lot of money, his tuition fee. We want some money back. That's the why other reason too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Anyone else? Any more discussion?
Councilwoman?
Go ahead and
Yeah, we
vote.
did a lot of time.
Councilman Chowdhury.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri.
Yes.
Councilman Hassan.
Yeah, if I say no, it's not gonna happen. So yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Do you really need my vote?
Yes.
I would love your vote.
Yeah.
Yes?
On the
Thank
spot.
you. Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-15, approval of appointment of Max Garbarino as Hamtramck City Manager approved. Square Pennant Civility Line.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll get a picture. I got it, Ode.
Yeah. Good.
Go ahead, Rhonda, get in there.
Yeah. We got you.
No, I want you in the picture too. You got a
Well,
a lovely dress on.
This
There we go.
No, you're good.
I state your name.
I, Max Garbarino,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of city manager
the duties of city manager
of the city of Hamtramck
of the city of Hamtramck
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Are you okay? Congratulations.
So, I'm honored and humbled that you all chose me to continue in this position. If any one of you would have asked me a year ago about this, I would have said you're crazy. I had no aspirations to actually come to this point. I didn't think this was gonna happen. I thought maybe years to come it would be, but I would not have expected this. However, when my predecessor left, there was a vacancy that I offered to help because I knew we needed it. At that point, I still was anticipating someone else taking this role, but I'll tell you, as the months progressed and the work had to happen with our third floor turning over and the people leaving from here and all the things that happened and starting to get great staff coming in and the new people coming in, and I felt like I started adapting to the role, and that's when I decided that I wanted to apply and I wanted to continue on in this capacity, and I promise you, I will do the best I can. I love the city, I love its people, and I'm humbled to have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Congratulations, Max.
Yeah. We'll move to the next resolution, 2023-16, supporting raised grant application for Hamtramck Alleys.
I make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, we have Ruben from our CED here. Ruben is a volunteer with our CED. He's working on his graduate degree and originally came to us to help with that degree, and we put him right to work. He's helping out Carolyn and has proven himself very instrumental in a lot of things that are happening here. The grant that he's here to talk about today has the potential for a lot of good stuff. I'm not going to steal his thunder, but he can go ahead and explain it.
Great. Congratulations, Max, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to be here. I am very excited to present more good news, which is free money. Basically, the Department of Transportation has a very big no-match grant that will fund surface transportation projects that don't often get funded. This is a huge opportunity for the city of Hamtramck. We debated in the CED and along with the DPS and our grant writer about what projects might fit for this, and we came upon alleys as a key project that's needed in the city. There's a lot of community support for this. We have heard from many, many residents over the years about the need for alleys to be repaired. They also are a key opportunity to reduce the flooding that happens every couple years here in Hamtramck, because alleys actually represent a huge amount of surface area in the city. So if we make those alleys contain the stormwater better, instead of sending it directly into the sewer, you actually get fewer backups. So what we're proposing is to apply to this grant to redo the alleys and redo the parking lot near Yemen's, or on Yemen's, am I correct? The surface parking lot on Yemen Street with porous, sustainable pavement. At minimum, this grant is $5 million. So we would use this $5 million or more, depending on how our engineers assess what alleys need to be done, to redo basically as many alleys as we can get. There's a lot of community support for this. We've already gotten letters of support from the Yemeni American Chamber of Commerce, the DDA, the Hamtramck Community Initiative, and Hamtramck Mutual Aid. This is also a priority that the City Council stated when it passed a resolution in 2022 during the summer, saying that alley repaving was a priority. It's also in our master plan to repave with porous pavement. This is kind of a very clear-cut issue. It addresses a lot of different issues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any more discussion about this? I mean, that would solve the huge problem for us if it works, I hope.
We're hoping.
Councilman El Samiri?
Yes.
Councilman Hassan?
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakowski?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-16 approved.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-17, authorization to approve first reading of KNF rezoning amendment to the Hamtramck zoning map.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, if I could humbly ask one of our council members to make a resolution to alter this resolution. It appears we omitted one address from the bunch accidentally, and Ms. Faulkner brought it to our attention. It is going to be 2328 Kniff, if someone could just slide that in there.
I'll make a motion to amend to add
Second.
2823 Kniff. 2328 Kniff.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Faulkner.
Thank you. Hi, Mayor. Hi,
Can we
Council.
vote on that?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm so
think it's
sorry.
clear to vote on that one.
We-
Then,
Yeah, let's vote.
yeah,
We voted on the amended one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Can
You
you
can
also please just give me the address that we're adding?
2328 Kniff.
2328 Kenneth. Good to go? Okay. Hello, so good to be here. So just to give you some history, CED proposed this rezoning to the Planning Commission back in September of last year. It is the south side of Kniff, between, I'm sorry, Joseph Campo and Nagel Avenue. There are quite a few sections in that section that are actually still zoned residential. So all of the buildings are actually commercial and institutional that we're proposing to rezone. Like, they're operating as institutional and commercial businesses. There are no residences in those addresses that are listed, but even if there were residences, C2 is mixed use and allows both residential and commercial. So it's quite a flexible district. The definition of C2 is included in the report, and it's very broad. Can you pull up the report, page 2, in the PDF? Just so I can put up a visual. But while that's going up, the reason is because there are challenging opening businesses there. For example, if you get a new property owner or someone is leasing one of these commercial-looking buildings, they come to the building department or CED to get a certificate of occupancy, and they find out that the zoning is, for some reason, residential, even though it's a clearly commercial building. It can slow down them getting a C of O by 4 or 5 months. So they might be in a lease for 5 months, have to jump through all these hoops before they can actually open their business.
I don't actually know, so actually if you can zoom in right there to that map. So all of the yellow is zoned residential. It includes a gas station, it includes a market, it includes a whole bunch of things that are not residential, but they're zoned residential. So people will try to lease it out or buy it, and then they're very delayed because it's zoned residential. I don't know how that happened, but we're just basically trying to fix that. So we did a presentation to the Planning Commission in September. Then we held a public hearing, which is required by law, at the Planning Commission level. It was published in the paper. One person did come in support of it. Basically, this is the first hearing. We'd have to come back here for a final vote on this. But in the meantime, just wanted to see if there were any questions.
Good, very good. It's going on.
No?
No?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we vote on the amended
Yep.
resolution.
I need a first, a motion and a second on the vote.
Did they already do the motion in a second originally?
I thought it like stacks and unstacks.
Yeah.
They motioned and seconded, and then.
And we amended.
Now we need a motion to vote on the amended resolution.
Okay, like to make the motion as amended as it is.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Ready to vote?
Yes, go on.
Councilwoman Jakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Hassan?
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri?
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, amended resolution 2023-17 has been approved.
Thank you. We'll move to the next one, resolution 2023-18, approving the ballot language for proposed amendment of the Hamtramck City Charter to change section 9-18C, city manager appointments, qualifications, compensation.
Offer.
Second.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go on.
Okay, so this is the thing brought to my attention long time ago. So residents that can hear today, there is the some, why not, we got a lots of qualified, educated people around here not coming to the politics. There is the couple of reasons. One reason I'm gonna say the next one. So they're wasting their time, not getting compensated correctly, not getting respectfully, experience gathering, all those things. And basically this resolution came to the last month, couple of employees threat coming to us, we all gonna resign. Oh, we're gonna resign tomorrow, we're gonna go together. So that case, we do have in the elected body here, highly qualified to take over the job in case somebody just resigned right now. I'm gonna go for the temporary or for the moment or for permanently try to help the Hamtramck City. They cannot help because of this provision. So due to that, make a more Hamtramck building, city building appropriate and more secure, more diverse, more community-wise. That is the resolution we brought it. It is the Charter amendment. It goes to the election. I believe is going August election, first week. And if we approve today, is going the ballot and give the opportunity to the residents to think about it and vote for yes or no. So that's why we have some option. Still we can take care of this one.
Thank you. Any more discussion on this?
Okay.
Councilman Hassan?
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 23-18 approved.
Okay, thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-19, approving the ballot language for proposed amendment of the Hamtramck City Charter to change Section 7-01A, Council compensation, and Section 9-03, compensation of the mayor and mayor pro tem.
I'd like to offer.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Chair, if you want me to start first, if anybody.
Yeah, it seems like you're the first one.
Okay. Again, long time ago, our Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Dr. Ghazali, and here, when city need help, we reduce our salary together long time ago. I was here. Also, after those days, and right now economy is real high, all those prices, and somewhere any discussion come, if somebody say how much you get from the city council, when I said the real amount, embarrassed to me and that situation. It is not only the money, it is the time and respect also, and the other hand, again, there is lots of young folks is not coming to the election because of compensation. Not getting paid correctly, not getting talent. Is the very clear. The other hand, if surrounding area, you go all the city, this is only the city has that kinds of money city council getting. So, before yesterday, I opened the radio, I'm coming from my work, and I'm hearing Detroit City Council this week, or today, tonight, I mean, it's today, already been happened, 79 to getting $125,000. I understand it is full-time job. So people thinking about this, lots of community members also request me to, or agree with me to increase this one. We did not increase as a crazy. We did increase. There is reasonable. So this is not going to cross 6 council members and mayor. It is not going to cross even 80,000. Okay?
Yeah.
So all together. So I didn't see any criticize for this one. Is the reasonable? And try to bring the educated young folks to run the election. At least they understand. They have something is getting. They can go college, and more talent people come, more good idea come, more city will be benefited. That is my intention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman.
I'll try and keep this one short, like shorter than I normally do. And so Councilman Hassan and I actually have talked about this quite a bit, and we disagree on certain points of this. But a lot of what he says does hold weight. Whenever I'm at like SEMCOG or something like that, and people are like, well, how much do you get? And I tell them, and they're like, what? Like, that's it? And so it is that shock factor. And then that does come in when you're talking about the residents are requesting higher qualifications for candidates. They're asking for a higher time commitment from candidates and elected officials. Residents are asking for a lot. And that's okay, because that is the job that we signed up to do, and every single one of us here signed up for it at the pay rate that is currently there. And so one thing that I do want to request of my fellow council members is to just amend this language slightly to reflect that it would be enforced starting January 1st, 2024, which would be the start of the next term with the people who are elected with the upcoming council elections. So I don't know if I need to make a motion for that to start discussing that specific point, but.
Mr. Chair, I have no, that's good. No, there is a clarification. This is, it's not gonna be final approval today.
Correct.
If it is August, we still don't know it's gonna be approved or not from the residents. So we can wait, I agree with my councilwoman, we can wait. If it is come to the August election approval, after that any council meeting, we gonna make the resolution. It will affect from January 2024, that's all. So we wanna see first for the residents, that's my idea.
If it passes through these, the residents of Hamtramck, I mean citizens of Hamtramck, then we will make an amendment to this resolution.
Or bring the resolution.
Or bring this resolution back and make an amendment.
No.
That's not how it works. The
No.
wording that's on the resolution you passed tonight
Mm-hmm.
will be the
On
wording
the-
that's going to be on the ballot.
Yes.
So if you want to amend it to add the start of the January first,
Even if this goes on the ballot as is and is approved, you could always come back as a council and say,
That's what
we want this to start here.
Yeah.
They're just taking less money.
Yeah, after the election.
Yeah,
No,
we
it's
have
not.
still
so
have,
there's nothing in this wording that says when it starts, like immediately.
No.
after
It
the
says
vote.
immediately, but that doesn't mean they
But
can't,
that's still, it's still charter wording. You
nothing's
can't,
forcing them to take 9,000
I know.
as opposed to if they decide to take less. I mean, the charter isn't mandating that they cash a check, so. am
but
I wrong on
imagine
this?
somebody comes back in a couple of years and says, I never got my money that it was passed in the ballot. Like, I read, it's, I think it'd be more, it makes sense if it was in. the
yeah, I
language.
think Madam Clerk is right, you know, that's.
I think Ron is right, actually.
Okay, so
So,
let's go start. with
I,
it.
I'll
No,
make
no.
the motion to amend
That's-
the
let somebody
language.
come back and claim that it's gonna be an issue, that's likely,
So-
yeah.
I'll make a motion to amend the language to include an effective date of January 1st, 2024.
It's just cleaner.
Yeah.
Second,
You're right too, but.
mm-hmm, it's more clear, yeah.
At the beginning of the ballot.
And that was for resolution 2319.
Correct.
And I need a second, please.
I
So
second
the
it.
registered children, yeah.
Okay. Do you wanna discuss or you wanna vote on that?
Well, vote on
Just
it.
vote on it. Chowdhury?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Councilman Chowdhury.
That's fine. You're okay.
Yes, that was?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Al Samiri.
Yes.
Councilman Hassan.
Yes,
Councilwoman Jakowski.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, amendment to 2319 approved. And now if you want to discuss something different you'd like to, that's fine, or we can just go ahead and motion to pass the amended resolution.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion as amended.
Any
Second.
second? Okay. Any more discussion now?
No.
Well, I'm not gonna wait until 2024 for the raise. I just got $7 increase in my pay rate, so I'm fine.
Congratulations.
All right, so,
We need to vote on.
yeah, we can go ahead and
Amended.
vote now on the amended resolution.
Amended one.
All right.
Councilman Hassan.
Yes,
Councilwoman Jakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury.
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, amended resolution 2319 approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I know you guys already voted on this, but I just wanted to say that, I mean, it's $73,000, which is less than some of our positions in City Hall in total.
any cloud.
I know how much work council puts into this. The council subcommittee alone on ordinances spends hours and hours on end of their own time going through things, not to mention all the other subcommittees. And quite frequently, council's taking off work to come here. So I don't think it's gonna make us or break us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-20, approving the ballot language for proposed amendments of the Hamtramck City Charter to remove Section 4-04 council members who run for mayor and Section 4-05 mayor who runs for council.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion.
Any support?
Second.
Second.
All right.
Okay, again, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So this charter previously was all the history I know. What's happened, why that was, why made it. So it was the two group was fighting in Hamtramck, each other. That's why this charter was like that kinds of issue. So right now we don't have any issue. Anybody want to run, we have to resign. We don't have to resign. Still, I'm council, but I can run for mayor. If I don't get elected, I'm going to lose my council seat and mayor seat. They're very clear. Don't conflict that one. Then again, mayor want to run council, sometimes, too much responsibility, or I don't have too much power. Council has the power. My board does not work sometimes. Council board always work, so they can run. There is a lots of city in Michigan. When I go the Michigan Municipal League meeting, I see that. Oh, I was the mayor. Now, he's the mayor, I'm the council president. So there is the more flexibility and the more experience, more good people can stay in the different position. Due to that, we have idea and we brought it. Thank you.
So what's your plan, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, for the future?
I might go around your seat, you don't know.
All right.
Nowhere in there where council becomes clerk?
Well, guess
My
what?
job sake?
Next charter amendment is coming. Maybe city clerk will be the elected official. It was the elected person, it was before.
You want to run an election?
Yeah. Well, everybody is gonna vote for her.
I know.
Go ahead.
Treasurer, yeah.
Ready for vote?
Yes, go.
Councilwoman Jakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri?
Yes.
Councilman Hassan?
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2320 approved.
Thank you. Last one is resolution 2023-21, implementing a Hamtramck accessible parking program.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman.
So this is one that has come up over the years from multiple residents. There's a few that repeatedly bring it up year after year, and there's a few ones that have been bringing it up more recently. Family members, relatives have become disabled, and are facing difficulties in accessing their homes because of a few different systemic things in Hamtramck. So especially when there's like larger events and stuff like that with people from out of town coming in, we know that we have a parking shortage, and for our disabled residents, this is a very easy fix to make sure that they're still able to access their homes without incredible difficulty having to walk across town or something like that when they don't have the ability to do so. So if anyone has questions, I would be happy to clarify, but I think most of you I've spoken to about this already, so.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr.
It
Mayor.
is the good idea, and actually, it's happened to my neighborhood also. But one thing is a little bothering me. Mr. Nasser brought to the one of the logic. If somebody handicapped and we assign that parking for that person go for 1 month or 1 week some other city or vacation, that area spot will be still empty. There is anything we can do for that. That is my things.
Mr. Mayor, so you're saying if someone goes on vacation, that spot would essentially be left vacant while they were gone?
Yeah.
I don't know, we can brainstorm some ideas to see what we can do. We could maybe put a bag over the sign for a week. I mean, that's.
No, that's good. Yeah, yeah.
But we still got a lot of details to work out in this, because historically, we haven't done much with this because we knew we couldn't assign regular handicap spots to anyone specifically. So we're looking at doing basically a whole different system. It's not even gonna be handicap. It'll be called something different, and it's not even gonna look like a handicap sign, but it's going to be for disabled residents, so that there's no question that it is specifically for that house. And we hope to actually put some enforcement in there as well, so that if someone else is parking there, we can also write them a ticket.
Okay, so, yeah, good idea. Yeah, we can approve today and find out the way what you say, and we can bring it amendment. But, yep, this was the good. Then also, right now, they're calling police, hey, it is my sign, somebody park with the handicap, and then we're not gonna have the damage police call either.
It's been driving the PD now.
I know, I saw that. I saw it in my street.
They
A lot.
wanna do something, but they can't.
They can,
So.
Michigan state law. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I have a little concern. So are we saying that anyone else have a handicap sign and they can go park?
Yeah, right there.
Right there? But
And
what if that person is very disabled and she needed that parking spot all the
Disabled
time?
is disabled.
And wait 1 second, I have elderly aunt that, on Fleming, she's 78 years old. Her parking spot get taken by the neighbor, handicap.
That's what we're trying to
That's
fix,
what we're trying to
Councilman.